Okay. So for those of you who didn't do stock, you won't have an answer to check. I don't recommend you try to write down all of these answers, and I'm going to call out. All right, number 2, carbon 2 oxide. 3, sulfur 4 oxide. 4, sulfur 6 oxide. All of those were reduced. Okay?
What the crap did I do?
I don't know, but those 3 were all reduced. Number 5 is not reduced, so it will be nitrogen 1 oxide. 6 is reduced, so nitrogen 2 oxide. 7 is not reduced, so nitrogen 3 oxide. 8 is reduced, nitrogen 4 oxide. 9, nitrogen 4 oxide. 10, nitrogen 5 oxide. 11, phosphorus 3 chloride. 12, phosphorus 5 chloride. All right. Which ones do we need to talk about there, just in stock? What sheet? You lost it between me checking it and going over it? You know, this is a little bit like having my son in the room. He lost his AirPods between Monday and last night. He said they were somewhere between our house and the neighbors. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're not in the yard. But my husband actually went out and walked around in the yard like an idiot. He did. He was like, maybe the dog took them. I'm like, really? Okay. I said, they're in his room. He's a slob. They're in his room. I got a text sometime last night. I didn't check my phone until I got here. Guess where he found them? Where? The neighbors. Are you related to my husband? I know your last name's Wall. Where were they? In his room somewhere. I have not gotten a return text. It was to where they were in his room because he's at school, but they were in his room. See? Just like the AirPods. Yes, we can. We can go over any of them you want. Okay, so SO2. All right. Now, oxygen has a -2, right? So when you look here, is the 2 there?
No.
Are the numbers the same or different?
Different.
As soon as they're different, if the numbers are different, that means it was reduced.
Yes.
Okay, so you got to find the original formula. Multiply this through the subscripts. So 2 times 1 is?
2.
2 times 2 is?
4.
Okay, so what number came from the sulfur? So you write sulfur, Roman number 4, oxide. Pick another one. Anybody having trouble with this and need another one? 10, all right. 10 has N2O5. All right, oxygen has a -2. What can you tell me? Are the numbers the same or different?
Same.
When you look here, it's a 2 at the top, it's a 2 at the bottom. That's what I'm talking about, same or different. 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. Does everybody understand how I'm saying same or different? Okay, if it's the same, that means it's not reduced. You do not have to do any of that finding the original formula stuff. It's right there in front of you. What number came from the N? The 5. So nitrogen, Roman number 5, oxide. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Elena's nodding yes at me. So what about the rest of y'all?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're okay with stop.
When do you ever not put the item?
When it's not 2 elements, when it's not 2 capital letters. There are no examples on the quiz today that will not have "ide." Covalent naming always has "ide." When we get down here, we have mixed naming, which is after the quiz. If it has 3 capitals, it might not have "ide." You'll just use the polyatomic ion name that's on the reference table. Okay, what? What Roman numerals, which ones they are, like 1 through,
Yeah.
okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Are we good with 1 through 5? Put a 1 before the 5 means 4. Okay? 6. 1 after the 5 is 6. 2 after the 5 is 7. 2 after, we're doing 8. 3 after the 5 is 8. Now for 10 is an X. So if you want 9, you put a 1 before the 10 to get 9. I will tell y'all, you're not going above 8. Okay? Really, you're not going above 7. So if you have something above 7, you need to start thinking alarm bells. Okay? Because y'all are not really going above 7. Huh? We will, but right now with the stuff we're doing, we don't have any Kahoots that'll work. When we get to the atom and the periodic table and bonding, then we'll do Kahoots. It's just much harder because it's limited to characters. I don't have things that will work with a number of characters. And most of it has time limits, and with the math, y'all can't work the problems fast enough with the time limits.
Oh yeah, that'll get me stressed out.
Exactly. That's why I don't do Kahoots with this. I've tried. People get really stressed with the math and start yelling at me. So I just quit. All right, number 2, carbon monoxide. 3, sulfur dioxide. 4, sulfur trioxide. 5, dinitrogen monoxide. And again, when you have mono and oxide, drop one of the O's. It doesn't look like a moose with 2 O's. We drop one of those. Number which one? 5, dinitrogen monoxide. Number 6, nitrogen monoxide. 7, dinitrogen trioxide. 8, nitrogen dioxide. 9, dinitrogen tetraoxide. You keep the A and the O. 10, dinitrogen pentaoxide. 11, phosphorus trichloride. And 12 is phosphorus pentachloride. Questions? Yes, ma'am. If it's on the second element, it has to have a prefix. So if it's on like the O because that's the second element, yes, you will always write it. You will never write mono on the first element. Okay? You only put a prefix on the first one if it's like a 2, a 3, a 4, or 5. Okay? Anybody else? Question? Okay, 1 is what? 2, 3, 4, 5, penta, 6, hexa, 7, hepta, 8, 9, nona, and 10. Deca. Okay? Anybody else? Okay. All right.
They're gonna be like added to on there?
Don't remember. I made a new one on Friday.
A new one?
Yeah, because my other one had a typo and I got tired of telling everybody what the typo was, so I made a new one. Carbon was carton, so I fixed it. Thought it was time to update it since, carbon had been carton for like 3 years. All right. I'm even going to let you use your oxidation sheet because there's no acids on this one.
Yay!
All right. So you need a writing utensil and your oxidation sheet.
This is just maybe, right?
Just like Fridays.
No
Except it's-
sure.
Yes. Nomenclature. Except it's just covalent. Instead of that one, which was just ionic, this is just covalent.
Whoa.
It's the only difference.
You have allergies and you're like, it takes all the energy out of your face because you're constantly having to sniffle. and like everything's stuffed up. Like my whole face has been sore all weekend.
I get it.
Do you really?
I do. I've had allergies.
Okay, I was about to say if you're being sarcastic or anything.
No, I get it.
Okay. That's all I'm going through.
All right, so in the top four, where I say name in the stock system, you must name in the stock system. Even if you name it correctly with the old system, I will mark it wrong. Okay? The top four have to be named in stock. The next three have to be named in old system. Old system is the prefixes.
Oh,
And of course, the bottom three, you're just writing formulas. Okay? Yes, dear.
Thank you.
Never in my life, with anybody who's got to have noise like that. Say a quiz or a test. Okay, the top four have to be in stock with Roman numbers. The middle three have to be with the prefixes. Everybody got it? The top four, where it says stock system, have to have the Roman numbers. Okay? The middle three have to have the prefixes. many people do I still have working? Okay.
Are those tissues up there for the class or just you?
They're just me. I'm kidding.
Okay, because some teachers are like, the ones on my desk are yelling out in the class for either box or something. I've had a teacher like that.
Who's still working now? Anybody? Fabulous. Pass papers to the front. Let's see if we can mix these up to drive Elena crazy.
I'm already going crazy now. This is ridiculous.
Can't be that bad. Yes.
No, like, I can't remember the prefixes for me.
Literally, we started, I thought of it.
The prefixes.
No, I didn't do anything.
All right. So far, we've done ionic bonding separately. We've done covalent bonding separately. So now we're going to do what? We're going to mix it. So this paper has ionic and covalent bonding mixed. I don't care what system you use. You can choose, but you have to choose correctly. You cannot name ionic compounds with what system? With the prefix system. The only compounds that can be named with the prefix system are what type? Covalent. How do you recognize a covalent compound?
If there's a non-metal in the first one,
It's got to be all non-metals. It will be a non-metal at the first, yes. Okay?
so all we have to look at is the first one.
All you got to look at is the first.
So if it's a metal, then it's ionic.
If it's a metal, it's automatically ionic.
So if both of them are non-metal or both?
If both of them are non-metals, it's covalent. You can use a prefix system.
When we have a test on that side, we have like
Yeah, you're going to have your periodic table. Yeah. Okay? And we're not going to work on this the whole period. Because we're going to learn how to do some math today. Because your test is what day? Does anybody remember what day I said?
No.
Wednesday.
that's
Are we working on this by ourselves? Are we working on this by ourselves?
I mean, you can work with somebody around you if you want to, but
Expertise.
you should be able to do it by yourself.
I like to work with my expertise. I'm not sure about expertise.
Yes, ma'am. You cannot use the prefixes on anything that has a nothing. So when you look here, you see how it says NA? NA is over here. See up here, see that blue? Anything that's in the blue cannot have a nothing. I mean, a prefix. So NA is here. But it's going to fall squarely in that blue section. You gotta use the stop system, correct? Okay? You look like PI3, P and I, both are these. They are not going to be in the blue. They'll be in the yellow over there. You can use the prefix. If it's a polyatomic ion, gotta be stopped. Okay?
Wait.
Now, Princess asked about a polyatomic ion. Anything that's got a polyatomic ion in it is going to have to be the stock system. Okay? They're not going to be prefix system if it's got a polyatomic ion. Anybody else? Question?
Is there acid on here?
There probably is an acid on there, yes. I probably put in an acid because, with the exception of Michaela, everybody else in both classes got the one acid that was on the quiz yesterday wrong. So odds are good that I put an acid in there to see if you can recognize it. Anybody see an acid on the sheet?
Where?
I did.
On the 1 through 20 that I just
What have you
handed
had
you?
memorized?
One that we might have had to memorize.
Oh, that.
Anybody see one?
Yes.
Which one?
Excellent.
Number 15. Okay, so number 15, so how would you write its name? Or its formula? Can you do it without having to look it up?
No.
Okay, so you got that one wrong on the test Wednesday. Alright, number 2. Alright, this is what you got wrong yesterday on the quiz because it was very similar. I gave you the formula, and y'all all named it hydrogen and then something else. Only it was H3PO4 on the quiz. And I got hydrogen 1 phosphate or hydrogen phosphate, and that crap was wrong. What is H3PO4, which is what was on the quiz? Phosphoric acid. So when you see number 2, starts with hydrogen. Anything that starts with hydrogen is an acid. Okay, you only have 4 of them to recognize. So what is H2SO4? Sulfuric acid. Okay, you have to recognize those 4.
Wait, so when we write it, we just literally just write it.
You literally just write sulfuric acid. You don't have to do anything to it. Yes, ma'am.
Can you check my number 1 to see if I did it right?
Sure.
I don't know.
Except for that Roman number it is.
Why?
So you have how many numbers written on the sheet?
So we're writing wrong.
You see 30?
Oh, so, okay.
Expertise.
I was just
So the thiosulfate, right?
okay. So if it's just one, we don't have to write the remedy
Correct.
for the ionic ones?
Correct.
This one.
Yes. With. So everything after NA will go together for one name. And then you actually have the big Roman number. Check your sheet. How many numbers does it have? If it has more than one, use a Roman number.
I want to
These.
Oh my God, those are so good. For number 1, we
Like,
went, but for number 1, we went number 1 because I already have
one number. Correct. Who else has a question? Who else has a
Are the
question?
numbers at the bottom metals or non-metals?
Say what?
Are the numbers at the bottom metals or not?
There. You okay? All the blue. No.
Oh.
Not too much. Little nose.
supposed to put it. Wait.
After sodium, everything else is polyatomic ion. So we got S2O3 down this column, find this thing.
Not even little, y'all. I forgot everything they do.
It's two. Put it on this side. So it will be sodium.
Who else has a question?
This one was the circle.
Bring it here. What you got? Fabulous. Yeah.
But it has a 2 at the top. It has a negative 2 at the top.
That crisscross down and the 2 is on the NA.
Okay.
Okay? Can you go to the bathroom? Sure. Say what? 3 for the whole semester. Have you used one yet? No. Not bad, Xavier. Only missed one, that's 90.
So if you don't use the hall passes, you can do that as extra credit.
I do, on the last test, you get 5 points for each one you still have.
That's amazing.
Wait.
You will text me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
6.
I'm going to use 5.
Excellent 6. That's so disappointing.
Miss Wall, you can only use prefix with covalent?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sad.
It's tetra 4.
And then I
Tetra 4.
I put hexy 6. That's what I'm saying. I put all my tetras as 5. So let's just
If we do them all in stock, is that okay?
Yep, you can do Tetra for 5.
What?
Oh, she's
I was like,
dang.
I made a whole question for the prefix. I had work last night.
Wait, won't be subject to 3
It's not a brief, but I have to.
After you can cut back your hours.
I'm about to, I would work Saturdays because I told them I could not work during the week. If I'm home like that, I'm not getting
That's what I'm saying. So
What?
I get home at 10:30.
Can you play your shirt?
right.
Are you two done, Damon? Are y'all done? You do not get the rest of class.
I had to work 3 to 10:30 on Saturday. That was just my exhaustion. I swear I caught something from one of those people there because that's what my allergies that I hear.
Where do you work?
Chick-fil-A.
You think you caught something at Chick-fil-A?
Something from one of my coworkers or something. Because we get in trouble if we like call out of work sick. Like we get a certain amount of points. And even if we leave work because we're sick, we get a certain amount of points. We will stay there. Yeah, if you get like, okay, so if you like call out, that's like 2 points. And if you like leave work for an emergency or if you're sick, it's still 1 point. And then if you get 6 points, you get like, you're subject to be fired or have to like have a call. It's really dumb. I said, next thing you know, we'll have freaking bathroom taxes. What's happening?
What?
All right.
Seems like it.
So after you name the first,
So you
right?
just-
And you name the second. First of all, you can use a prefix. It's right here is the method.
On,
That means no prefix.
No.
All right. You name the sodium. All of that's gonna be together. Okay, because that's gonna be a polyatomic compound. So sodium, and then everything else, you're gonna look at together down this column. Does that make sense? Okay, go rename it and then come back and see it. Yeah. What's this? Freddie's got to look right back from the side here. What? What's this say? No. Next way it is. Yep.
There's 13 words that answer and 3 dacron.
Dichromate is a polyatomic. Yes, CR207. Yeah. Yes.
But it can be the negative ones. And then the one with the, because it gets
What's wrong with talking about? Four state.
It's SB 203.
Okay. Of what? Answer 3. Correct.
Ms. Walton?
Yep.
If you add a Roman numeral when it's not needed, will you get points taken off?
You'll mark it wrong altogether.
Oh. Okay.
Well, what we finished, there, wait, so if it's covalent, we could either write the prefix or the other ones?
Correct.
Okay, but either or is right?
Yes, there are 2 on the test, so 4 points. One of them I have told you you must do an old. One of them I've told you have to do it stop. The others, you may choose.
That too.
No. There are 21 multiple choice questions, the rest are all first response. So 42 points of the test are multiple choice, the other 58 points are first response.
Are the written answers anything like different than multiple choice, or are they just kind of the same?
You remember when we did protons, neutrons, electrons, and gram mole conversions? That's the stuff that's multiple choice, all the name and math is on stage for response.
And there's nothing on the other side.
So everything from like these past 2 quizzes,
It's all for response.
and then the other stuff is multiple choice?
Yes.
Did it?
And are you gonna give us like the practice sheets like you did last time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Ammonium and acetate and correct. Very good. Same way you did all the rest of them. Now look at this. For these here, you wrote straight down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all 2 points you shouldn't lose. Antimony, oxidation. Dichromate is a polyatomic ion. I know it looks like it's all systems of sulfur. Dichromate is a polyatomic ion. Look it up in the polyatomic ion section. It's CR207.
Does it mean,
Does what?
nothing, I was just thinking. For some reason.
What's 14 say? Ammonium acetate. Ammonium's a polyatomic ion, acetate's a polyatomic ion. So put them both in parentheses and crisscross.
Yeah, it is.
And they're actually both ones, so you don't even have to have the parentheses, because the ones will cancel out.
Oh, no. Wait, so for these, like, what's the difference between ionic and covalent?
Where?
The ones at the bottom.
You're just writing the formula. So if I put prefixes in them, you know the prefixes are the subscripts. If I didn't use a prefix, then it's oxys to me, crisscross. The only exception to that is dichromate, because that's a polyatomic ion.
That is?
Or hexo, or
Oh, hexachloroplatinate, flat, yeah, that's polyatomic ion.
all the ones with numbers.
I was supposed to know that.
Other than it's on the sheet today, and you should recognize it beyond today, I don't really have an answer other than I just told you.
Okay. Is this IR 207?
Yeah.
I was close.
What is that?
I meant chlorine.
Yes. Then look up carbonate to bring it down.
What?
Carbonate has an oxidation number, 12
What?
Okay, let me see right now.
They real saucy,
What do you want
This
to
one
do?
needs to be 3,
like dry for,
and
it's
this one
like
has to be.
this much. Them cheeks.
Why you went for
I know, so
two.
SB2, CR2. I'm worried, I'm sure it's.
You get free, don't you?
Nitrite is nitrogen,
And so
but just the secondary of free.
because,
Say what?
that's
Nitrogen is nitrite.
So,
When it's the secondary.
Yes. Yes.
and, so you don't look at the prefixes if it's a polyatomic.
Say what?
You don't look at the prefixes if it's a polyatomic ion.
That's correct.
See, since it's gonna tell us which one to do, and maybe, I'm just gonna do all the rest. And then stop this.
Most people find it to be the case.
On the test, it's very important that we look and see if it's a metal or non-metal before we decide.
Yep.
Oh, God.
What's the reason that you can't use the old system on, anything silent?
You can, but the old system with ionic compounds doesn't add prefixes, it does endings. Like if you had FeCl2 and FeCl3, you would change, first of all, it uses the Latin, and you would change the suffix. So it'd be ferrous chloride and ferric chloride. So we would have to learn Latin roots and endings. It doesn't use prefixes.
Yeah, I think it's just using stock system.
Correct. And I know a lot of black roots, but I don't know them all. So I'm just not teaching. Because that's a lot of memorization.
We have,
Yes, madam.
so SB2.
Say what? No, I'm gonna go over some of what you guys have.
Why is it ammonium on the sheet?
Ammonium is the very top one on the sheet. It's the only positive one there is.
Because that's not. Oh, that's a polyatomic ion.
Correct.
Why?
So do we? Oh.
How are we coming, guys?
Oh.
Are we getting close to finish?
Wait.
Oh,
yes.
What's new there?
Here and
Uh-huh. Yep, it doesn't matter, it's not on the sheet, you still use Roman number. And the Roman number's gonna be what? Yes, doesn't matter if it's not on the sheet.
Okay, wait, so it
Sulfur.
doesn't matter if this kind of.
Oxide is two.
Where? The 2 came from the oxygen, and oxygen, if you look, has a 2, so it's 2 to 2, so the number's the same, so it wasn't reduced. So nitrogen would have a what? Yes, you're right, nitrogen 4.
So it just doesn't matter if it's.
Nope.
That's what colon is here. I know. Oh. So CO. Yeah, I if I don't. We don't get points taken off or predict parentheses or other polyatomic.
No. If you leave parentheses that are not needed, it's fine. If they're not there and they need to be there, that's not okay.
I do know when they have like 2 numbers in the, okay.
If you need a number on the outside
Oh,
and you take them off, yeah, that's a problem.
okay.
So I should just put
So, hold up. What's that fine to me?
All right, if you have not finished that at this point, okay? I guess I'm gonna have you finish it for homework.
Oh, we have 2 left, wait.
But we need to move on to the math, because I want to teach new math the day before the test. Because I want you to have time to process that before we take the test on Wednesday. That way tomorrow we can review, and if you have math issues, we have time to practice tomorrow along with naming and the math. All right, because some of you are 2 away, some people are 10 or 12 away, based on what they've shown me on their papers. So if you're Janiyah and you're done, hang on to it, don't lose it, okay? Because we'll go over it tomorrow. Now, we're going to switch gears and talk math. So my people who've changed seats and that, move back where you belong, find your notes.
Do we need to keep these sheets out or close them up?
Periodic table.
Just need-
Yep, just do the periodic table for right now. Now, we're going to talk about molar mass. All right? We're going to learn how to do 2 types of math problems. It's really only one, but it sounds like 2 when you look at the board.
Is it hard?
No. We're just expanding on something you guys already know how to do. We're not doing anything super, super new. And I'll let you get a calculator in a minute. Now, molar mass has other names. It's also sometimes called molecular mass. And I will change these names as we cruise through the semester so you get used to hearing more than just molar mass. It can be called molecular mass, molar mass. You can call it mole conversions if you want a big title like Sumatra probably will. All right, molecular mass, formula mass. I've even seen gram formula weight. So, what is molar mass? It's essentially the mass of a compound using atomic mass. So if you think back, a little over a week ago, we were converting grams to moles to atoms. We took a quiz on it, and if you look in your power school, you guys will see, I did pretty good on that quiz, Ms. Wall. We did. The things that people got wrong were, I forgot my units, I didn't have the right significant digits, I punched it in the calculator wrong. I had 1 or 2 people who did not average atomic mass right or didn't remember how and lost 20 points on that one. But for the most part, everybody got 90 or higher on that quiz. Okay? Now we're going to add on to what we know how to do because y'all are sophisticated. Back then, you could only work with a single element on the periodic table. But now we know how to write the names of compounds. So instead of working with just an element, we can work with a what? Compound. Okay? So a molar mass is the mass of a compound. Okay? So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to learn how to find the mass of a compound, and then we're going to learn how to find the moles of a compound. Okay? It's not hard. You already have the basic skills. We're just going to build a little bit on what you know. Does everybody have what they need off this board? Yes? All right, so let's start easy. So let's say we want to find the molar mass of CaCl2. Something nice and easy. What would I need to do in order to find the mass of CaCl2? When I wanted an element, I just looked at the table. Now I want a compound. What would I need to do to find the compound? Do what, Michaela?
At the table,
What would I need to find on the table?
a number,
Of what?
the element of the table.
Okay, which elements?
CA.
Yeah.
And,
CA.
okay, so we need to know their atomic mass. All right, so tell me the atomic mass of Ca. I told you it'd be a while before I would tell you these things.
9.08.
Okay, so 40.08. What's chlorine's?
35.
Okay, we're halfway to what we need. What else do we need to know besides just their atomic masses? The what, Elaine? Nope, not the atomic number. One more thing we need to know to find the mass of the compound. How many of each element there are. Okay? The number of each atom. So, how many CAs are there? How many chlorines are there? Now, how did Michaela know that except she's super smart? She looked at the what? She looked at their subscripts. Okay? This right here tells the number of atoms. It's called a subscript. Okay? That's how we figure out the number of atoms. The subscript tells us that. All right, so now what are we going to do with these numbers? We're going to multiply them. Okay? So we're going to multiply them together. That's going to give us 40.08. It's going to be around 70.8, but let me get the real number. 35.45 times 2, 70.9. Now, what are we going to do with these two numbers? Add. All right. Somebody tell me the unit we're putting on this.
Grams.
U.
Or
A.
U or AMU. Either unit is acceptable. All right?
Done.
That's it.
So it has nothing to do with moles.
We're going to use it to do moles in a minute. We're doing the first part. We're learning the first thing we need to
I'm
know.
also not done with the whole thing.
Right.
For that problem, we are.
Don't say we're
So the molar, when it says molar
When
mass.
I say find the molar mass on the test Wednesday, that's all you got to do.
Oh,
So what's the next part? Why is there a next part? That's all.
Because then we're going to use it to convert moles in a few minutes.
that's
But this is all there is to that question.
okay.
All right, so grab a calculator.
Oh.
Oh my Jesus.
I'll get everybody over here one. Thank you.
I have one. Okay. Who needs one of these?
All right, while you're getting a calculator, set that up and find me the answer. Let's see if we can do this one. I'll put some parentheses in it. Easy, killer.
Sam did it.
Sam did it. Who's Sam?
Samantha.
Oh, my battery's so low.
When you just draw.
Oh, batteries. Fortunately, I still have some batteries. Maybe one day the state will pass the budget. We can get some supplies.
So when you do this one,
Set it up.
do you do the ion as one? Or
No, you got to break it apart
So,
because there are no ions on the periodic table.
gosh. How do we do that?
How many elements are in that?
So what you do is be sulfur 1, oxygen 4. Wait, but you gotta do it times 3. So would you do 3? So, okay, so would it be so sulfur 3, oxygen 12? Okay, thank you. Okay, heard. Well, have we done that before or something? Distributed that before or something? Distributed.
You gotta distribute. So, those of you who are not listening to Michaela, there are how many aluminums?
2.
All right, this 3 does what?
Distribute.
It distributes. So there are how many S's?
3.
How many O's?
12.
Remember, parentheses in math class and science class mean multiply and distribute. So, you have to distribute the 3 to, oh, it's cut, there it goes. There. So it goes to everybody. Between 2 and 3:30.
Me too, freak out.
All right, so, got an answer or do I need to be patient?
Yay. She just doing this before.
Since dinosaurs roamed the earth.
I'm starting to think dinosaurs were really a big threat.
Is you see oxygen? Wait, it's on this. Yeah. It's right below.
All right, done now?
No.
This is the last.
You wrote it.
I did. You can still take out decimal places. I can just do it in my head faster if I don't use all the decimal places.
You should have done that. Right, that just kind of made me upset too. Wait, so if we still write the decimal places, it's fine? You take both answers on the test?
I'm gonna tell you on the test I use decimal places. When I do a key on the quiz, I use decimal places. I just round the whole numbers on the board.
Significant digits or
Now, in this question, do you have any significant digits? Look at the question. Are there any numbers in the question?
so no.
That's correct. There's no numbers in the question. I said find the molar mass and I gave you a compound. So in this question, there are no significant digits because there are no given numbers. Okay? That's all I gave you was a compound. I gave you no numbers in the question, so I can't ask for significant digits. Okay? Now, the answer will vary depending on how many decimal places you took out the answer. If you took it out all of the decimal places on the periodic table, you took it out 1. If I took it out whole numbers, and we rounded, it's gonna vary slightly. Okay, was I in the ballpark with 342?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't actually punch it in the calculator.
Okay.
All right, everybody got it?
Wait.
All right, so what we can have to go. We said 1 mole was equal to 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. Today we're going to add to that. It's also equal to molecules and formula units. Okay? Now, going back to our dozen example, you guys know that a dozen eggs, a dozen cookies, and a dozen cupcakes are all equal to what?
6 or 12, I mean.
I was worried about you for a second there. All right, it's all equal to 12. So, think of atoms as eggs, molecules as cookies, formula units as cupcakes. Doesn't matter, you still have how many in each? Avogadro's number, okay? Now, an atom, just to clarify, is an element. A molecule is covalent, and a formula unit is an ionic compound. Because some of you are going to be like, what's the difference? All right, an atom is a singular element. Okay, that's what we did a week and a half ago. We looked on the periodic table and we looked up how many atoms there were, right? Today, we're branching out into compounds. A molecule refers to something that's covalently bonded. A formula unit is something that has an ionic bond. Okay? Now, do we have to worry about what kind of bond it has when we calculate? No.
Just
We
what
don't.
kind of ending?
Okay? Just when we're naming it. Doesn't matter when we calculate. We don't care. Alright? Which is why it's up there in the same category as an atom. They work the same way. So, the other converting factor we learned was 1 mole was equal to the atomic mass in grams. Which is the same now as 1 mole is equal to, let me write that, which is equal to molar mass in grams. Now, again,
Wait, so
this was for an element. This will be for a compound.
Okay.
Okay?
No.
It works the same way. The only difference is last week we did it for a element. Now we're sophisticated. We're going to do the same thing with a compound. Yes, buddy.
So, how come whenever we wrote it down, we did A and B instead of G? Oh,
Because
okay.
I didn't teach you the other unit. The other unit we could write. Hold on, I'm going to come right back. The other unit I can teach you is grams over moles.
Okay, so for the other stuff, the extra stuff we just wrote, that atoms, molecules, formula, whatever we use the equation, it would be the ending, like you know how you count off, you don't have atoms or something, are we gonna have to change to like molecules and formulas?
Yep, we are. It's going to be in a chart. Getting ready to do it. Getting ready to do it.
Oh, okay.
All right, does everybody have what they need? So, in our flow chart, since Michaela asked, remember how we had grams to moles to atoms?
yes.
Molecules and formula units go here. Okay? They work just like atoms.
So
Nothing's
basically,
different.
When we see atoms, we can think molecules, formula.
Correct. It works the same way.
Okay.
So what number, when we did this, always went with moles?
1.
It hasn't changed. Have you learned to balance yet?
No.
So it can't change yet. we will learn to balance. It's going to happen early next week, probably Monday. Okay? So moles are still going to get a 1 because we won't learn to balance until about Monday. Okay? What always went with grams?
The atomic mass.
So we can still put atomic mass here if we have an element, or if we have a compound, which is what we're going to do today, we're going to put what?
That molar mass.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? We're going to learn how to put molar mass there just in a few minutes. Okay? And it won't matter whether we have an element, a compound, whether it's ionic or covalent. What are we always going to put next to an atom, a molecule, or a formula unit?
Oh.
That's right. It won't matter which one of these three we have. Avogadro's number will go next to all three of those. Okay? It won't matter which one we have. That number will go next to all three of those. Okay? Are you with me? Okay. So all we have to do is read the question and draw the chart. Nothing's changed except that if we have a compound, we have to add up the molar mass instead of just looking at the atomic mass. That's really the only thing that's changed. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say that you're asked on the test, how many moles of SO2 are there in 17.52 grams? Now, does that question look similar to what you worked on the quiz a week ago?
Okay, yes.
Okay. The only difference is a week ago it would have just had an element, and today it has a compound. It's the only difference.
Okay.
So you found the molar mass.
We're going to if we have grams in the chart. If we don't have grams in the chart, we won't. Most people want to start by finding the molar mass. I would tell you to draw the chart first because if it doesn't have grams, you don't need the molar mass.
So what do we do? So do we got the chart or like not?
I would. What goes in the chart?
17.52 grams.
So what goes on the bottom line?
Grams.
Well, you got to go to from a gram.
Molar mass. Oh wait, no. What are you? I
If you're in a gram, what you got to go to from a gram?
Oh,
What the question asks us for?
gram.
Oh.
Moles.
Does this need to be a 3-step chart?
No.
What goes beside moles?
1.
Wait.
Okay. Now, grams. What goes beside grams?
Molar mass.
Molar mass. Now, if it was just an atom,
No.
we just look up there, find its mass, and write it down. But we can't because we have what?
Compound.
So we got to do what we learned today. How many S's do we have? How many O's do we have?
2.
I'm going to use whole numbers. What's the mass of sulfur?
32.
What's the mass of oxygen?
16.
So 32, 32, 64. And we're ready to calculate. Now, this time, do I have to worry about significant digits? How many do I need?
2. Oh, I'm sorry.
We need 4. So I have 0.273.
8.
Okay. It's not what I had, but I'll write 8.
Round?
Sure.
Wait, so
Okay,
we use
so then
moles,
why did
is
you
that
say that was wrong?
is that the same thing?
Yeah, because we want moles this time because grams did what?
Cancel.
And so what units left?
Gosh, I get it.
Wait, so you would count 2738 and 2737, right? What? You would count that. Oh, this.
Say the question again.
Okay, so you see how I rounded to get 2738. you would also count 0.2737, right?
Yes,
Okay. Because
my calculator didn't have 0.2738 or 0.2737, so I just took what you gave me.
You get it.
Probably,
Did
I probably
everybody
did.
else get that?
Wait, I didn't do it yet.
I got it.
Everything's for the equals to zero.
I got 0.273. Yeah, I guess you did.
Yeah,
I just looked at it wrong. I just looked at it wrong.
Okay.
I just looked at it wrong. All right, so
Just making sure I wasn't crazy. Alright.
how many molecules are there in 2.847 moles of Na2? Whoops, let me change that. CO2. I need a covalent compound.
Should I write molecules or should I write?
You got to write molecules. Now, in your head, you can be thinking, that's the same as atoms. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? So Michaela said, Ms. Wall, do I have to write molecules? Yes, you need to write molecules in the chart. Yes, you need to write molecules on your answer. But if in your head, you're like, oh, that's the same as atoms, think about it the same as atoms. Okay? So what goes on the top line of my chart? 2.847 moles. What goes on the bottom? What goes on the top? Molecules. Which you know in your head is the same as a what? So
Atom.
in your head, you're thinking, oh, that's the same as atoms. Okay? So what goes beside moles? A 1. What goes beside molecules or atoms? And are we ready to calculate?
Yes.
So do we need to even find the mass of CO2?
No.
No, because there's no grams in this chart. Right? There's no grams, we don't add it up. This is why I'm not a supporter of go ahead and add up the molar mass, because if you go ahead and add up the molar mass, what are you going to do? Yes, waste time, but 9 times out of 10, people find a place to put that molar mass in their chart because they're like, I added it up. It's got to fit in there somewhere. And so they put it in. Don't add it up unless you got a gram in your chart and need it. Okay? So what'd you get? 1.713 times 10 to the 20 who? 24. And then your unit is molecules. Now, you can abbreviate that MOLC if you would like. That's the abbreviation for molecules. And it's fine. Formula units.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, right, 1.714.
Wow. It's not 2 doesn't round.
But we got different answers. Yeah, we got different answers.
I am never going to get upset if your answer is close to that, but not exact. Okay? If you wrote it down slightly different, it's fine. Yes, ma'am.
You told me not to put the whole thing in, but I'm doing that because I don't know how to do the other one. But I'm still getting the right answer, so why can't I put that one in? Like the 6.022, I like write that whole thing out.
Me too.
Yeah.
What, the times and the 10 and raise the 25
Yeah, you
crap?
said not to do that.
I guess if it's working for you, keep doing it.
Oh, I didn't
I don't
do
know
that.
why on
No.
earth you do that.
Maybe
Just
that's
hit
all
second EE. I will show you. Because there's no need for you to have to put in all those buttons all the time. Your calculator is programmed to do this right for you. All right, let's talk homework real quick. Now, if you did not finish naming, you need to name the rest of that worksheet. And then I'm going to tell you which ones to do on here. They're math questions.
Wait, so how can you get the region with the CO2?
Because you don't have a gram in the chart.
Okay, yeah, but.
You only do it if you have a gram in the chart.
So that answer would be correct even though like SO2.
Yes, correct. It would not matter what the compound was. All right, we're doing number 1B. Okay, 1B. And then 5 through 9B only. Okay, so 1B and 5 through 9B only. And the material we just finished is the end of the test. Okay, the test starts